Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ignore the Noise, episode 3. Today I'm talking about something very important, and it's why I do not read or listen to the news. Now, disclaimer before we start: if you are someone that loves a good newspaper, an article, or perhaps you like reading the news app on your phone, then this video probably isn't for you, as I'm likely to disagree with everything that you believe in. But if you do stick around, hopefully you find some value in this video. Now, I want to start with the facts of what most of the news, the majority of the content that is contained, and it is negative, and it's normally the following: reports on global pandemics and crisis happening around the world, war reports, politicians arguing, disagreeing, only really serving their own purposes, daily crime, murder, children suffering, poverty, homelessness, markets crashing and burning, and price rises in every way, shape or form. Okay, and we're all gonna end up homeless because we can't afford anything. Am I right? I'm pretty much bang on the money there. Imagine exposing yourself and listening to that every single day as someone who wants to do really well in life. How damaging is that on your mental health? I mean, take a case study, COVID-19. And my thoughts are with those that have lost people through COVID-19, but I also think of this. I take a step back. I think, okay, I'm more of a shepherd than a sheep. I don't believe all the titles that the BBC publish or other news articles, certainly not The Sun. 152 or 155,000 supposedly died of COVID-19, yet years later, well, 2 years later, only 17,000 official reports of COVID-19, majority being old people. Yet the scaremonger kicked in. Everyone's going to die. If you go out, you're going to die. And many people believe that. Not everyone did. I still went out. I still looked around me thinking, oh, everyone's doing pretty well. I'm doing okay. I was fine through the whole thing. That's not saying other people weren't, but I'm talking from my experiences. And of course, I'm entitled to that opinion. I'm just sharing this with you. But it was definitely hyped up to be more than what it was. Because look, we're all okay. Everyone's, it's all about Russia invading Ukraine. So it changes. Again, it comes down to what sells papers, what sells news, what's getting the highest click rate, and we're going to get onto that shortly. So we really have to limit and take with a pinch of salt what we're reading, because if you are that individual that picks up a paper, reads a news article, and you believe what is on there, I'm sorry to tell you, most of it is fabricated. It's there to sell. Just like a YouTube video. What's going to get more click rate? Just a really boring video which might have amazing content in it, but you've got this other one that's got a rocket, fire, big face blown up, white border. You're going to click that one because it's drawing you in. It's exactly what the newspaper does. And I'll share a case study with you. Last year I met with a very successful businessman who is good friends with someone who's high up in one of the London papers. And he openly said, we will change and adapt a title and a thumbnail depending on the click rate that it gets. If it does not get a high enough click rate, then we change it. We'll make it more doom and gloom. There you go, you've heard it firsthand. So you have to take it all with a pinch of salt. Also, look, as entrepreneurs, business owners, people that want to do really well out of life and want to stay in a positive mindset, it's all about solutions, not problems. And what we find when we listen to the news or we read is that there's always problems, but they never offer a solution. For example, you'll always hear about a stock market crash, but you'll never hear about a new IPO company that boomed and people made millions. And that's happening all the time, but you never hear about it because they want to leave you with the feeling of dread. And I'm not going to get into conspiracies here because I could sit here all day, and maybe this is where this playlist will go, is some of my more, my stronger beliefs. Who knows? I don't really want to bring that onto my channel, but I do believe in some conspiracies, or I have my own take on certain conspiracies, because I don't think it's all black and white. I don't think it's all what the papers print and I'm just going to believe that, because I make up my own choices based on facts and what I believe and what seems to make sense, and if there's an agenda behind it. So let's have a look at a few other things here which I want to share with you, especially when it comes to limiting your exposure. And how do you go about doing that? Well, I wouldn't say it's about being ignorant to the news or naive or not taking on board any kind of information, because if you're an investor, you're a business owner, you're someone that's starting up a new business or whatever it is, but you're active and you're trying to be positive, you have to have some form of exposure in order to make decisions. Okay, so I'll listen to things like international news, what's changing amongst emerging markets, financial and economic articles. I'll also listen to a lot of podcasts. That's a great way to switch the news from something negative to positive. Podcasts, audible books, reading books. Those are all good alternatives for someone wanting to stay in an upbeat, positive mindset. And that's the key word, your mindset. If you are being bombarded with negativity, murder, crime, you feel down in the dumps. I mean, my God, how many times have I been in the car and I'm thinking, oh my God, I just turn the radio off because I think promote something positive already. So I have to find my own solutions to that because no solutions are being offered. And that's why it's so important you take on board what I'm saying. If you want to go far, you want to achieve greatness, limit your exposure. And you can do that on your social media feed. There's normally 3 little buttons next to an article that comes up and you think, I don't want to see that. Click on it and hide those type of news feeds. So look at ways of limiting it and also replacing it. The other thing is with bad news, 9 times out of 10 it doesn't happen. When it comes to Russia invading Ukraine, what have we heard a lot of, what have we seen loads of on TikTok is a nuke coming over and bombing London. Okay, I don't know why we're at the forefront of it, but is that likely to happen? Absolutely not. Who will win out of World War III? They reckon between 12 and 24 hours a nuclear war would wipe out the entire world. So who benefits from that? And if you believe in the whole Illuminati and all these powerhouses that sit behind governments and central banks, well, all they want is power and money. Well, they're not going to have that if the world is wiped out. So is it likely to be as bad as what we think it is and what's being published in the newspapers? Probably not. Are people dying? And is it horrific? Absolutely. And I think it's terrible what's going on. But ultimately, some of these big, bold titles, they're not necessarily as bad as what is actually happening in terms of what could happen. Are millions upon millions upon millions of people around the globe, going to hit financial crisis because of the war? I don't necessarily believe it's going to be that severe. Are we going to see certain price increases? Yeah, absolutely. We've already seen it with petrol, gas and electric, but there's no point worrying about something until it's happened. And 9 times out of 10, we always spend more time worrying about something that actually never happens or to the scale that is published and put out there in newspapers and news feeds. Okay, so I hope what you take from this video is limit your exposure, because all I'm saying is if you are someone that wants to do really well, you can't be reading and believing everything that is published. Okay, negative news always sells more than good news. Fact. So this was episode 3, why you should not read or listen to the news, or at least have a detox every once in a while and just limit your exposure. It's simple. Be around positive people, be around positive news, and I believe you'll go far. So until next time, please do like and subscribe, and I will see you all very soon.